I'm Dave Hartzell, Kingfisher, Oklahoma. 45 years in the HVAC trade. This has figured something out, me in the truck, working through something that's been on my mind. Today it's about 5 a.m., not as a productivity hack, not as a self-help talking point. I've been doing this for 45 years, and I want to tell you what that first hour actually is, and what the research says about why it matters more than most people think. I've been up before 5 a.m. most mornings of my adult life. Not because I read a book about it, not because some business coach told me to. It's just what happens when you run a service business in a small Oklahoma town and you take the work seriously. The phone starts ringing around 7. By 8 on a hot July morning, I've got 3 calls queued, a tech on a job, and someone who wants a free estimate on a system install. The day gets away from you fast. The only hour that belongs to me is the one before any of that starts. I've been thinking about why that matters, not just practically, but what it actually does to a person. And the research on this is more interesting than I expected. People who wake up at 5 a.m. consistently, not occasionally, consistently, share a specific psychological profile. And it's not what most people assume. It's not about discipline for its own sake. It's not about grinding or suffering through an alarm clock. What researchers have found is that early risers tend to score higher on something called self-regulation, the ability to manage your own behavior toward a future goal, even when the present moment is pulling you somewhere else. In plain language, they're good at doing what they said they were going to do, even when they don't feel like it. That's a different skill than motivation. Motivation is how you feel. Self-regulation is what you do, regardless of how you feel. Most people conflate the two. They wait to feel motivated before they act. Self-regulating people act first and let the feeling catch up, or not. The work gets done either way. There's also something that researchers call future-oriented thinking. Early risers tend to make decisions based on where they want to be rather than where they are right now. That's why 5 a.m. makes sense to them, even when 6:30 would feel better. The decision isn't being made for right now. It's being made for 9 a.m., for noon, for the end of the day. But here's the piece that stuck with me most. The psychological benefit of waking up early isn't just the extra time. It's the control. Before the phone rings, before anybody needs anything, before the day becomes reactive, that hour belongs entirely to you. Nobody can call you into their emergency. Nobody can add to your list. You're not responding to anyone. You're thinking forward. Researchers describe this as a sense of psychological ownership over your own day. And what they've found is that how the first hour goes tends to set the emotional tone for everything that follows. The people who spend the first hour in a reactive state, alarm snooze, phone scramble, start the day already behind, already responding. The people who spend the first hour in a proactive state, thinking, preparing, moving on their own terms, carry a different kind of steadiness into everything after. I'll tell you what 5 a.m. looks like for me. I'm up, coffee's going. I'm going through the day's schedule in House Call Pro, who's on the board, what parts are needed, what's going to require a second look. I'm thinking about the calls I've got queued. I'm thinking about what I know and what I don't know yet. I'm thinking about the customer who called yesterday with a problem I haven't seen in a while, working through it before I'm standing in front of it. By the time I'm in the truck and headed to the first job, I've already run the day in my head once. I know where the pressure points are. I know what I need to have on the truck. I've thought about the questions the customer is probably going to ask me. That preparation doesn't make the day perfect. Things go sideways. They always do in this business. But there's a difference between going sideways when you're already prepared and going sideways when you never got your footing to begin with. The first one you can handle. The second one can bury you. There's also something about what that hour does to your identity. And I don't mean that in a soft way. I mean it practically. When you start your day with an hour of intentional proactive work before anyone has demanded anything of you, you carry that into the day as evidence of what kind of person you are. You've already done something. You've already moved. That's different from starting the day in response mode. One of those starts, builds something. The other one just burns whatever you've already got. Now, I want to be honest about something because I don't think this show is worth much if I'm not. Not everybody is wired for 5 a.m. The research is pretty clear on this. Circadian rhythms are real, they vary person to person, and there are people who genuinely function better in the later hours of the day. Night owls aren't undisciplined. Their biology is just set differently. What I'm not talking about is the clock time. What I'm talking about is the first hour, whenever your day actually starts, belonging to you before it belongs to everyone else. If you're a night person and your first hour of real mental energy is 10 p.m., when the house is quiet and nobody needs anything, that's your 5 a.m. The principle is the same. Time you control before the world gets its hands on it. The mistake is not having that hour at all, not because you're the wrong kind of person, but because without it, every day starts in someone else's emergency. And that's a hard way to live. I'll close with something I've noticed in 45 years of running a service business. The calls that go worst, not technically, but in terms of the whole interaction, tend to happen when I'm already behind, when I didn't get the morning prep in, when I'm 2 calls deep and the day has been reactive from the jump. I'm sharp technically, but I'm not settled, and customers feel that. The calls that go best are the ones where I've had the first hour, where I've thought forward, where I walked in the door already knowing what I was looking for, already calm, already ahead. That's not magic. That's just what preparation does. And preparation requires time that hasn't been claimed yet. 5 a.m. is where I claim it. I'm Dave Hartzell. This has Figured Something Out. Thanks for riding along. If you've got an HVAC question or a system that needs a look, call 405-375-4822 or book at hartzellsheetair.com.